You know what's strangely more political than the mask debate?
What?
Wearing a Batman shirt while doing a Spider-Man video.
Oh, shit, yeah. That's definitely a faux
But
pas.
I balanced it out with my Thor mug. Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby, joined by Achara Kirk.
What's up?
We're looking at Everything Always' video, Spider-Man No Way Home, alternate ending and deleted scenes.
Oh.
This is something I am very, very excited to look at. I enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home enough to watch it 3 times. I did have issues with the film, to say the least, but I watched it 3 times and am totally open to watching it 3 more times. Thank you, Everything Always, for allowing us to react to this. Very, very much appreciated. Y'all, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm a little loopy right now for reasons I won't get into. So yeah, hit the subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and pretty please vote this up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Also subscribe to Everything Always if you could be so kind. Link in the description below. Oh my god, I'm getting a glaucoma. What's going on here? Jesus.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Broman, aka Allfires, with Spider-Man No Way Home heading into the 3rd weekend now domestically, and with a rather lengthy international run still left in front of it. There's no telling just how much this film is going to gross, already at $1.16 billion at the time of recording this video. But now that we're through the 2 first weekends domestically, everybody has had a chance to weigh in, be a lot less secretive and a lot more forthcoming about what was going on behind the scenes in trying to pull this film together. Everyone from Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige behind the scenes to, of course, Tom Holland, the main actors in the film. Now today we have a whole list of alternate or deleted scenes and an alternate ending for the film that I think really would have changed the position that Peter Parker was in and all the details going forward as to what happens with his character.
Oh
We're
my
breaking
God,
down
I
this
need to
entire
know.
list of an alternate ending and deleted scenes, things that didn't quite make it into the film. That also includes some different interaction between the Spider-Men as it applies to Green Goblin.
You know they had to have like 8 endings. He's probably not even gonna have all the alternate endings. You think about that ending of Peter Parker. I heard that the next Spider-Man films are gonna have nothing to do with the MCU thus far. Like, it's a complete departure.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. So they're going to go back to how it was before.
This is me doing one of those things that your parents do where they see a Facebook headline and they just run with that. I saw a headline. I didn't read the article or watch the video. I just saw
you've become that guy.
Yeah, I just saw the headline. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's where that... I mean, you see the title for that kind of thing. You're like, I don't need to dive in.
I don't even need to read this.
With the alternate endings, like, there's so many different ways it could have gone.
Yeah.
Like, from the point of the spell being cast of when Tom Holland goes, yo, just make everyone forget who I am. From that point, you can have so many different variables, so many different outcomes.
So as I mentioned in the prologue, we are going to run through the full list of alternate and deleted scenes, but I want to start at the end with the alternate ending because there's actually quite a bit I want to say about this.
Ooh.
The alternative ending would have been where Strange sends the trespassers back to their universes, but without casting a new spell, and Peter's identity remains public.
Right.
Peter graduates high school, but still breaks up with MJ and distances himself from her and Ned to protect them from his enemies.
That actually is more heartbreaking.
That is. Like, my heart just broke when he said breaks up with MJ. I'm like, no.
Yeah. It comes to the same conclusion. I think that's worse because he has to see MJ's face when he breaks up with her, as opposed to she has no idea who he is and he gets to just walk away.
And distances himself from her and Ned to protect them from his enemies. Now, it's super easy to see why they would have changed this ending. In both instances, the agency is with Peter. He makes the choice, but the way they did it in the film, the imminent breaking of the multiverse, all of the threats that are about to come through it, are the reason he chooses that spell. It's not something that he wants, it's something that he has to do in order to defeat them. The other way around, he would have defeated the enemies, but then it would have been his choice and something he wanted to do, distancing himself, trying to protect them. We essentially would have had to watch Peter Parker break up with MJ on screen in what would have been the denouement of the film. It definitely would not have felt right, and that doesn't even seem like it's something in Peter Parker's arc. So while his decision is the same, his want and intentions behind the decision are vastly different in the film version versus this alternate ending. And while this may have been early in production, they really nailed the ending of this. Also, a great time to mention, if you watched the film even once or twice like me and felt like maybe Sony got one over on Marvel, erasing his connection in world to all those characters and the growth of his character arc over all these films, remember this is actually leading to character growth in and of itself, taking away the benefactor, the name of the Avengers, all of his friends around to help that are also superheroes, leaves him in a position of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man who's got to work at the Daily Bugle to pay his bills and make his own suit. So in a way, this actually did lead to character growth in an arc for a character and gets to show now what Peter Parker learned from all those connections as he tries to stand on his own 2 feet.
That's the thing that I've heard that has been a very big criticism of the Tom Holland trilogy. I don't mind it myself personally, but from what I've heard from people within my circle is that it doesn't really feel like a proper Spider-Man movie movie because he's always getting help from like Uncle Tony Stark and like the Avengers and then now he's got Uncle Doctor Strange. Yeah, it would be interesting to kind of go back to how Spider-Man was before, where it was just like Spider-Man doing his own thing. I'll miss kind of the connection with all of the MCU stuff. If they continue to give us really great movies like they have done, I'm open to it.
Your circle?
Yeah.
Achara doesn't have a circle. She has a straight line, and it's towards Jaby Kuwait.
I know some people.
You act like your circle of friends is like super hardcore into the MCU, and then it's like
I have many friends who are into the MCU who you don't hang out with. Why are you jealous?
I'm not even remotely jealous. I just think it's hilarious that you called it a circle when you're probably talking about like two people.
Well, I was talking about two people. It sounds better though.
His own two webs. You guys get it. Now let's run down the rest of these extended or alternate scenes, deleted scenes that are being reported. The first of which would have been an extended version of Peter's interrogation where Matt Murdock arrives to demand Peter's release. We had heard about that in a couple of the pseudo plot leaks before. I like the way they did it. It was succinct, it was quick, to the point, and also got to showcase a little bit of Daredevil's powers without letting the cat completely out of the bag. The next one would have been Peter's court hearing, where Matt proves Peter's innocence, but Peter's Stark Tech is apprehended by damage control. They basically wrapped that up in the way that they did it, and I don't think we needed any extra Matt Murdock. This film was about the characters in it. I'm surprised they pulled off as many cameos as they did. I'm glad they left it the way it is. There was a televised debate between J. Jonah Jameson and a Spider-Man supporter where the supporter raises valid points while Jameson uses comical straw man arguments. An awkward Midtown High student newscast where host Jason complains that his co-anchor Betty Brant abandoned them to go work for the Daily Bugle. That was something viral marketing they did. They had Betty Brant, the actress, working for the Sony TikTok for Spider-Man No Way Home as like a Daily Bugle intern. We showed a couple of those clips here at the channel. Again, they didn't need that in the film. There were more scenes of Flash Thompson passing himself off as Peter's best friend and mentor to promote himself in his autobiography. We definitely didn't need any more Flash Thompson. My complaint about that first act, while I understand why they did it for the actors, it really felt like just lining up any actor that had been in the first two films, get a couple of scenes in, and we don't see them for the rest of the film.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, sure, but I enjoyed Flash Thompson's appearance in the movie. I thought he was funny. I actually liked him. Like, normally I just
find him annoying.
By design, I find him quite irritating.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be.
Yeah, by design, that's what it's supposed to be, and it's like I just want less of him, but you're supposed to want less of him. Whereas here, I was like, oh, I actually think he's funny. He was still an obnoxious character, but I enjoyed his presence on screen in this one.
Sure.
Spider-Man webbing up a robber played by Tom Holland's brother, Harry Holland, only for a mysterious reporter to throw paint on his suit. Tom Holland has spoken at length about the scene, why he specifically had his brother hanging upside down because of Tom Holland complaining about having to hang upside down, and his brother checked him and said, you're Spider-Man, you're going to be fine. So when they had his brother play the robber in the scene, Tom Holland made sure to make the stunt supervisors hang him upside down all day so he could see what it's like. He didn't like it, and at the end of the day, hilariously, the scene was cut, so it was all for naught anyway.
No.
We also heard about and reported on this Tony Stark's daughter, Morgan Stark, played by Lexi Robb. What would have happened in that scene was she would have been voicing her support for Spider-Man as Stark Industries is put under federal investigation for financing Peter's activities. There was an alternate version of the Sanctum meeting where Wong pointedly tells Strange not to cast the memory spell because it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
We actually saw that scene
in the trailer.
In the original trailer.
Yeah.
Numerous extended and alternative interactions between the three Peters, which I'm sure there's comic gold all over those. Maybe in a future deleted scene or extended cut,
I want to see that.
More of those one day. Maybe even in another crossover down the road on the big screen. We'll cross our fingers for that. In the meantime, we're hearing about one, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Peter Parkers, both alerting Tom Holland's Peter Parker that the Green Goblin is one of the greatest enemies that both have ever faced, and the one that always targets their loved ones. But I think their dialogue was pointed enough. Those scenes were super emotional already, and then by the time that they get to the joking stuff, it's past that anyway. Benedict Cumberbatch has laughed and joked here recently, but said, not sarcastically, that Marvel definitely rewrites up until the day of and sometimes continues to rewrite while they're shooting, and we've heard about that even with WandaVision. One of the greatest lines that what is grief if not love persisting, written on the spot. This sort of thing is part
I
of
love
making
that
great
line.
art, always attending to the changes that need to be made in the moment. Marvel gets it right most of the time, and while there are some nitpicks about this film, logical errors, to me, logical fallacies that only set up the narrative because the decision making so obviously is against the character, not enough for me to suspend disbelief, not enough for me to be upset. It's definitely not.
The most fascinating thing from this video for me was discovering that they're writing even into shooting, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, they're constantly doing corrections to get it right, as it were.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. This is a hard thing, especially when you're dealing with something with this scope, with this magnitude. You're trying so hard to get this right for the audience. And it's like, after it's all said and done, throw the popcorn at the screen.
Like, sometimes I wonder, I mean, I guess they do get to read the full script before they come on, but like sometimes I wonder if it is a situation where they just get their sides every day, and then like any scenes that they're not in, it's all like redacted, you know, like with a black on it, and
Maybe.
it's like, you don't know shit, so you can't spoil shit.
Well-
and we're gonna record like so many different versions of this that like you won't even know
Right.
what the movie is.
I would imagine Tom Holland probably gets a script that's akin to that because he has been known to spoil stuff a lot. I would imagine they trust Benedict Cumberbatch. He seems pretty good with keeping a tight lip on things. I think that no matter which way they took that ending, I thought there was going to be more listed endings, by the way. I think no matter which way they took that ending, it would have been fine. They would have figured their way out, so to
Right.
speak. The ending where he would have broken up with MJ and she has to deal with that heartbreak would have been actually an interesting ending, because seeing the distraught on her, it's actually akin to the first Spider-Man film where he walks away, I think, doesn't he? Tobey Maguire walks away from MJ at
believe
the
he
end of the
does.
movie in the cemetery. I thought that's what he did. Maybe I'm wrong, because they eventually get back together anyway. That would have been a cool way to like bring it full circle. You know what I mean? Because that's what they did with the boss fight, where Spider-Man is fighting Green Goblin. So, you know, the latest Spider-Man fights the first boss. And so
Right.
the latest Spider-Man has the same ending as the first Spider-Man. I just think that would have been very poetic.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, like you said, it's just like a different way of showing him making a choice, right? Because
Yeah.
either way, he's making a choice.
Yeah.
He's making the choice to leave her because he knows that it's better for her safety. But I think we, the audience, know, or at least hope, that they're gonna get back together somehow because they have to.
That's
right?
that's my point. It's like that would have almost been a cleaner ending, even though it seems messier. It would have almost been a cleaner ending in terms of the grand scope of the Spider-Man stories, assuming that MJ and Ned come back into the fold again. Because it's like, okay, so you're gonna have to like jog her memory for all of this shit all over again. And whereas she would already know. You know what I mean? Either way, it's
Right.
they'll find a way to make it work.
Or maybe it's something along the lines of, you know, love is immortal and you can't kill love. And so even though she loses her memory, there's something inside her, in her physical memory or in something in her soul where she's like, no, I know you, I'm connected to you. And you kind of get that sense when she looks at him in the coffee shop and she's kind of like,
Yes.
or maybe she's just like, hey, you're cute.
Right.
Why don't you ask for my number?
She looks at him in the coffee shop and he says, Trinity. You guys, if you got your own ideas for alternate endings or deleted scenes, we'd love to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Would be very interesting convo. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon, all notifications, promote this up, please. I'm Jaby Koei. This is
Achara Kirk.
Peace out.